Here we are, Revenge of the Clone Part 3, Return of the Hard Drive. So let's recap on where we got to. It didn't work. That's basically the bottom line. It didn't work. So part 2, I left this saying I needed to buy some more parts, I needed to do some more research, but it hadn't worked. So the bottom line was that this thing here, which is a SATA SSD, I know it works fine because I've copied it, I've formatted it, I've done all kinds of things with this particularly, but it won't work in this machine. And I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is that even though it says it's SATA 1 compatible, for whatever reason the BIOS in this machine can't read a SATA 3 drive. So that was a problem. But what I did do is I took the SATA disk drive out of another machine and I put it into this board and it could read it, but that was a mechanical drive. So I had to kind of think about this, kind of sort of moving the goalposts a bit, if you like. I still need to clone the drive that is in the MUSE, and the MUSE is now open on the desktop in front of me. And actually the drive has been removed. There is the drive for the MUSE. Is actually sitting there. I've got it out of the MUSE, but I haven't taken it out of its caddy yet. But it's still there. So I've tried a number of things over the last week, but the first thing to do was this only arrived yesterday, and this is a 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drive, 7,200 RPM. So it's exactly the same speed as this, just 3-4 times larger. But it is a SATA drive. There you go, there's a SATA drive. Okay, so I thought, well, this didn't cost me a lot. This is second hand. It cost me about £20, I think it was, on eBay. So I thought, well, I'll buy this and I will try with a mechanical drive, see if I could get something going with a mechanical drive. So we're going to plug this in. We are still going to use Clonezilla, and Clonezilla is on the thumb drive that is here. Okay, so we're going to put that in the back of this machine, just like that. And then we're going to see if we can get this working. So I just need to connect a couple of cables up, and then I'll restart the video. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. So in order to make this work, and I will put a picture up over here so you can see the insides of this from up top. But you need one of these extension cables because the MUSE Receptor only comes with one 3.5 inch power socket. So if you want to put any other drive in this machine, or you want to change it from a 3.5 to a 2.5 or to a SATA drive, you need to either have a connector, have a interface connector that changes the size, so changes it down to a 2.5 or changes it to a SATA, while you're doing the cloning. And then you can obviously just use the normal drive with either your interface or directly plugged in. So for this, the normal power would be plugged into this cable here that I'm holding, rather than this expander cable that I've got in there. The expander cable is not expensive. It was a couple of pounds on Amazon, to be honest. And there's companies that are probably making a small fortune out of selling these sort of devices to people. But then I've connected up the Western Digital drive with a SATA interface. So that's the SATA connector. The original drive is still connected using its IDE ribbon cable. So the next thing to do is now find out whether it's been registered. I'm just going to move my sheet out of the way. It tends to get everywhere, that sheet. So let's fire up the machine, set it into record mode so you can see what's going on the screen up here. And then what we now need to do is we need to plug this in and make sure that this machine can see that drive. And if it does that, then we'll move on to try and clone it. It's the only way I can see of doing this. So let's first of all fire this up. And that's not what I wanted it to do. So at this point I'm going to stop the video and restart it, because I wanted to go into the menu and it's not allowed me to go into the menu for some reason. Okay, try again. This time quicker with the finger. Right, in the BIOS, let's see if it's found the new drive. Bosh, boot sequence. Result. So what we have is we have the new SCSI drive, which is this one, is in port 1. The original drive, which is the ST drive, is in port 2. And the Clonezilla drive is now in port 3. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go down to that Clonezilla drive and I'm going to move that up so it boots from Clonezilla. Wonderful. So at least we now know that this mechanical drive, this mechanical SATA drive, can be read by the board, which is a vast step forward from this drive, which of course couldn't be read by the board. So at least we've got a drive that now actually works in the machine. So the next thing to do is to boot into Clonezilla. So I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to let it boot into Clonezilla. No, I'm not going to stop the camera. I'm going to carry on with the camera rolling, but it will boot into Clonezilla and then I'll come back on camera. I'll do something like that. You get the drift. Okay, we're in Clonezilla. You saw it boot up into Clonezilla. You would have seen that with me not talking over it. So what we do is we say we want to run live. So you just have to hit the return. The machine will automatically now start booting Clonezilla. And then I'll run through the options and then I'll let it just carry on recording so you can see it go through the process. And we'll see how far we get. That's all we really can do at this point. The one thing you need to remember about using this product is that a couple of things I found using different products or trying to do this. Number one, there's only 2 gig of RAM in my machine and a lot of these products need 3. If they're running 64-bit, they can address more than 3. The board is 64-bit board, but the operating system that's on this particular MUSE device is only 32-bit, so it can only address 3 and a bit gig of RAM. So there was no requirement to have more RAM on this board than 3 gig. But it's it's got 2 gig on it. I've been searching on the internet to see if I can get another 2 gig chips. But we'll see what happens. So on the screen at the moment it says do I want English? Well, yes I do. And do I want to keep the default keyboard? Yes, I do want to do that as well. I don't want to go into a command line, so I'm just going to hit that. And what I want to do is select the second option, which is I want to go from a device to a device, like so. Now, they normally recommend you go into beginner mode. Now, I know that doesn't work, so we're going to go into expert mode. And again, we're going to select this first option, which is disk to disk, like so. So now it's telling me there's 2 disks in this machine other than the boot drive, which is correct. There are 2 disks in this machine, which is good because Clonezilla now can see the disk as well. Now the 2 disks in here, the 250 gig is what was in the machine, and this 1 terabyte Western Digital is what we're going to. So we're going to select the source as the 250 gig. Now it's automatically eliminated one of the drives, and we're going to select the target as the Western Digital drive. And then we get to this menu here, and after playing around with this quite a lot, what I found is you need to click the rescue option, because that will not stop the process going on if it has a sector error or a byte error. Pretty much all the other stuff stays as it is, but it's that one you need to put on when you do this. So then we click OK again, and the other one you want to do is just make sure that if there are errors on the original disk, they're repaired on the way through. And I think we want to create, because the disk we're going to is larger than the disk we come from, we want to create a partition table proportionately. We click OK, and then tell it what I want to do at the end, which is I want it to reboot, like so. Now it's going to. This is the idiot's dead man switch, if you like, because what it's going to ask me in a minute is it's going to ask me, do I really want to do this? So it's saying I will lose all data on my Western Digital hard drive if I do this process. Well, yes, I do want to do this process. So you press yes. This is where you can get complacent and do it again, but it's asking me the same question again. I do want to do this. Just check it is the Western Digital hard drive, and off it goes. Now I'm going to stop this camera at this point and let that one continue running, so that you can actually see what goes on as part of this process. See you in a bit. So it's just finished. The whole process took about 35 minutes to run through, and obviously it won't run 35 minutes on the video because I'll compress it to run much faster. But in terms of actual time scale, it was about 35. So if you bank on about 40 minutes to run this process, you're probably not going to be far off. Now, the big question is, has it worked? So in order to make sure, find out whether it works or has worked or not, we need to unplug the thumb drive and also unplug this Barracuda Seagate drive. And then what we'll do is just save that away. Set it up so it records the screen again so you can see what's going on. What we now need to do is I just need to give it a reference point. Well, that's good news because it's found the installer and then it fails. Okay, so what it's telling me is so I think I'm going to put a shout out and say, can somebody tell me what this means? Kmod failed to execute /sbin /mod probe space -s -k block -m major -3 error number equals 2. VFS cannot open root device HDA 2 or 0302. So it looks like it can't boot. But what's very interesting is the fact that it actually has started the boot process from the clone drive. So I think it probably just needs a new boot sector on this drive. But I'm kind of getting to the edge of my knowledge with Linux here, in terms of this is the furthest I've ever got with this. I've not got it this far before, in terms of actually running from the machine itself. Now I wonder whether I've got this in the right mode in the BIOS. Let's just check that. No, not happy bunny. Now I do remember this, that there's two modes for the SATA interfaces to run. There's one mode which is RAID, which I've left it in, and it seems to have done okay, but I wonder whether that might be causing us a problem in the So I've quickly swapped it out of that mode into the IDE mode, which we should see on screen in a sec. So it should come up there. It's detected it as a normal drive now. Okay, now we've got to this point. I can hear the drive making noises. Oh, you beauty. I do not believe this. That has booted from the SATA drive. Oh yes. I didn't think this was going to work. I honestly didn't think this was going to work. But I have now created a clone of the original drive, and that clone is now booting this machine. I can't tell you how wrapped I am. I have spent weeks on this, trying to make this work. I've bought a load of bits, and I thought I was getting to the point where if this didn't work, then honestly I was going to turn around and spend. I spent about £100 on bits and pieces, you know, SSD hard drives and SATA hard drives to get this to this point. And now I've got it to this point. I've got something that works, and that is amazing. Really, is utterly amazing that I've now got a drive that works. Now, the next piece that we need to kind of sort out here is that this drive has copied across the partition as if it were on the original drive. So I now need to extend that partition out so that I've got the full 900 odd gig of space that drive gives me for loading the next bits up. And obviously the next drive, I'm going to now go and buy another one of these drives basically, and I'm going to clone that. So this will be the sort of Revenge of the Clone Part 4, will be how to put this drive into use. But I can't tell you how happy that the fact that I have just booted that from the clone. Really, really, seriously, can't tell you how happy I am about this. So, on that note, I'm going to say, live long and prosper. Until next time.